What's up, everybody? You are back on the other side with Mike G, and today we are going to hear the journey of a man who many people, including myself, believe is the greatest heavyweight kickboxer ever. He is the reason you've heard of K-1 kickboxing and has inspired a generation with his impressive style and engaging character. Ladies and gentlemen, it is truly my honor to introduce you to the one and only Mr. Perfect, Ernesto Hoost. How's it going, Ernesto?
Thank you. That
Are you
is a
do-
nice introduction. Yeah, I'm doing okay. Uh, I'm relaxing on the Saturday. Just did some things in Amsterdam. I don't live in Amsterdam. I live close to Amsterdam. So
okay?
every once in a while I go to Amsterdam. I used to train there also,
hmm
but now I'm training closer to my home.
Gotcha. All right,
Mhm.
man. I like to start at the very beginning for everyone. Being a kid, tell us where you're from and what life is like for you growing up.
Okay, my parents are from Suriname, South America. I was born in Holland,
hmm
and I didn't always like that because um, as a kid, it was like at the one hand, uh, I was a black kid, uh, um, and when white kids looking at me like, "Oh, you're black," and
Right.
at the other hand, I was not born in Suriname, and there are many people from Suriname in Holland. So they called me sometimes something like, yeah, in Holland they say bounty. I think
Okay.
in America they would say Oreo or something. You
Okay.
know, they would say, yeah, you're black from the outside and white from the inside, blah blah blah.
Gotcha.
So that was not so easy. But on the other hand, I did not let that encourage me in the things I did. So and if I look at how they look at me now, completely different. So everything turned out okay.
Yeah. Do you ever run into any of those people on the street and just get to look at them and smile? No.
No, no, I don't see them. I mean, I will see them sometimes, and then you will not hear that anymore because now I'm fully black.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. When and how did you find kickboxing, and what do you think was the appeal of it for you?
Okay. So when I was about 13 years old, I heard the words kickboxing, and I saw maybe 1 minute or something of it on TV.
Okay.
And the word only, I mean, I'm speaking Dutch, I'm not speaking English, but the word kick and boxing, it sounded so, yeah, special. It was like really something for me.
Yeah.
So I asked my father, can I do kickboxing? Then my father said, where do you want to do that? I say in Amsterdam. But yeah, I live like 50 kilometers from Amsterdam. So my dad said, no, that's not going to happen. But when it's in town, then you can start. So when I was 15, I there was somebody who came to teach kickboxing in my hometown. So then I went there maybe not right away, maybe after a month or something. Um, and then I felt right away that it was something for me. The exercises he explained, I knew them basically instantly. While some of the guys, even after a year, they still couldn't do them. So looking back, that yeah, that told me already that I had a talent then.
That's awesome, man. I want to bring up a date and a name
Mhm.
and tell me what it means to you. December 11th, 1983, Wim Scharenberg.
Garamberg.
There we go. Tell me about that.
December. Well, I went to see. So I started training in 1981,
hmm
and I think the first time I went to an event, I think it was in 1982,
Okay.
and then that there were like uh, in Holland we have the new fighters class, the C class, the B class, and the A class. And that day were new fighters in C class, and I think one A class fight or something. And when I saw the new fighters, I was like, those guys I can beat. You know, they're not that special. But my trainer, he wanted to wait. He wanted to be sure I would be the first of the gym to go to the ring. So he wanted to wait. So I had to wait maybe a little bit more than a year before I could do my first fight. And I have to say, my first fight with Wim Scharrenberg um, on December 11, 1983, it was not as easy as I thought. You know, it was. I mean, looking back now, the things I know now compared to the things I knew then. For example, he was a southpaw.
Hmm.
He was a southpaw, and he kept on kicking me on my right leg, and nobody ever did that to me. So after the fight, the next day I couldn't walk, so I had to go to school. But I was limping.
I
But
bet.
I won because every time when he threw the kick with left, he dropped his left hand.
Hmm.
And one moment I saw, oh no defense, now I must hit, and then I knocked him out. So that was great. And what is even more funny that it was it was 10 years later that I made the same move uh, while studying it.
Okay.
That I made the same knockout, I have to say, when I had studied it. That was kind of interesting. The
Hmm.
first time it was just like, okay, no defense, I have to hit. And the second time it was really deliberately knowing what my opponent would do and making the knockout like that.
Right. If you ever talk to him, please apologize for me for butchering how his name is pronounced.
Yeah, you're not Dutch. You're not Dutch, so. And
Okay.
I'm not sure if he will ever see this, but
Okay.
uh, until today, he didn't really prolonged his career as a fighter. He was a little bit older than me also,
Okay.
so that will be okay.
All
And
right.
I have to say, later on, I became a coach and a trainer. And as a coach, I was again I met him too as a coach, and most of the times I lost, so that's okay for him.
Okay. Um, fast forward 10 years. It's April 30th, 1993. K-1 Grand Prix 93
Yeah.
quarterfinals.
Mhm.
You take on a guy who some feel belongs in the conversation as the best ever. Tell us about fighting Peter Aerts that night.
Okay. Peter was making name. We already fought
Hmm.
in 1988. Then he was a late replacement. Because I was supposed to fight with somebody else, and that opponent didn't show up or couldn't fight or something, and
Right.
then they asked Peter. Peter was, I think, only 17 that moment. Uh, I won because he surrendered after the second round. But I told him right away, like, Peter, thank you for fighting me on a short notice,
Yeah.
and whenever you're ready, you can get a rematch. Well, that moment came 5 years later. That
Hmm.
was not planned because they put us in the tournament against each other, and yeah, then we fought again, and it was a hard fight. Peter had just had a very great knockout, and he knocked out Maurice Smith,
Hmm.
I think, a month before or something. And so he was feeling very good, and the fight was pretty even, but they gave it to me. And then my second fight was also with Maurice Smith, and then I beat Maurice after 2 hard rounds. I beat him in the third round. Peter I beat on points after 3 rounds, and then I had maybe 10 minutes, because those guys, they thought in Japan, they thought it was like a karate tournament or something, and so they were like no rest actually, and then I had to fight with Branko, but Branko had 2 easy fights, 2 knockouts, and I just thought, okay, I will not think. I just try. I had beaten him before, so I thought maybe it will be okay. But at some point, we start the fight, and the next moment, when I look up, there were many people in the ring, and he was on the shoulders of 2 guys, and then I realized that I was knocked out and I lost. And that was yeah, it was pretty tough on me, and I had something like, um, whatever happens, when I'm coming into the final, I will never lose again, and that's what I did. So I have been in 8 finals and I won a 7.
Yep. You're the Michael Jordan of the sport, man.
Yeah, I really like, because he's one of my favorite athletes ever.
Mine too.
And when I fought in 2002, I fought in Vegas, and then he was there. I didn't know,
Oh wow.
and it's when you see that fight. I fought with Jan the Giant Noortje.
Hmm.
Then at some point, then the camera was on Michael, and then they said he is the Ernesto Hoost of NBA, or is Ernesto the Michael Jordan of K-1. That was a
Same.
very great. That was a great compliment.
Yeah.
After the fight, he wanted to come to me, um, but then everybody approached him, and then he left. So yeah, because it's like I say, it's one of my favorite athletes ever.
Yeah.
So I regret that I missed the chance to meeting him.
Hey, maybe tomorrow. Who knows?
Yeah, that's true.
Moving on to 1996, you take on an absolute legend in the fight game, Mirko Krokop, in the
Uh-huh.
K1 Grand Prix quarterfinals. How did that fight play out?
Well, that those days he was not a legend yet. Um, I think he beat Jerome Le Banner,
Hmm.
um, prior to the Grand Prix. Um, so I knew he was a dangerous fighter. He was very fast with his left leg,
Hmm.
um, but he didn't block my low kicks. So then he had a problem. So I beat him on, by low kicks actually, and um, um, yeah, that was basically not such a difficult fight for me.
There's probably not a lot of people that can say, Mirko wasn't a tough fight for me.
Yeah,
That's
I
awesome,
have
man.
I have beaten him 3 times, so yeah, what can I say? And,
Yeah.
and I mean, I have all the respect for Mirko. I mean,
Hmm.
I like him as a person. I I admire him as an athlete. But yeah, with me, it somehow it was not. I was a bridge too far for him or something, you know. And it's
Okay.
funny that one time when we talked about it, and then there was something like that. I beat him 3 times. I said no, 4 times, because you also beat me with chess one time. We played chess one time in Japan,
Okay.
and then I beat him with chess too. So
Nice. He remembers that one. He's keeping
and
score.
he remembered that one. Yes, that was, yeah, it was interesting. Yeah.
That's funny. All right, June 16th, 2001, the K-1 World Grand Prix semifinals. You take on yet another legend in the Super Samoan Mark Hunt. Describe what it's like fighting someone with that kind of crazy power that can end the fight in just a second.
I didn't hear. You thought. I think you said Mark Hunt.
Yeah, I wanted to
Yeah.
talk about what it was like
Yeah.
fighting the Super Samoan.
Super Samoan. Yes. Um. Yeah. For me, it was not that difficult. I mean, I knew his power.
Hmm.
His power was in his hands, and basically I had everything under control. But then it was, I think, in the second round. The second round, he when I wanted to make a low kick, at that point, for my luck, he didn't hit me on my face, but he hit me on my chest with a straight,
Hmm.
and I fell. And the referee, he hesitated one moment, and then he was like, "Oh no, I'm gonna count." And I was like, "What? What are you doing? You saw that I did. You didn't. He didn't hit me on my face. He hit me on my chest, and then you're gonna count." I was so angry. And then the only time the only time I have experienced that, maybe it happened before, but I cannot remember. After that round, I think the judges or the head of the judge, he said to the referee it was not an 8 count. You have to take off the 8 count. We don't take off 1 point from Ernesto. So the referee came to me. He said, "You can wipe that 8 count away. It's not it's not an 8 count."
Good.
Yeah, well, and that made me win the fight. Otherwise, I would have lost.
Yeah. Alrighty. See here, K1 Grand Prix 2002, another
Yeah.
all-time great. How did it feel to get a first-round knockout over a guy like Stefan Leko?
But K1 2002 was when you talk about 2002, I think you mean to 2001
Okay.
because 2002 was Bob Sepp.
Okay. There we go. My bad.
No problem. Um, Actually, I fought with Stefan before. I beat him by knockout.
Hmm.
Um, so I knew that I could beat him, and yeah, basically he was not such a problem for me. And I saw that a lot of other fighters had problems with him, but for
Hmm.
me, I don't know. I think he looked up to me at some way or something,
Okay.
and it was never a real problem for me to fight with Leko.
Okay. Um, let's take a trip to Japan for Pride Shockwave 2002. 11 days after fighting in Vegas,
Yeah,
you take on the monster Simi Schilt. How
yeah,
difficult was that fight considering the extremely short turnaround and his physical advantages?
yeah. It was like they asked me if I wanted to fight with Semi when I was even before Vegas. Then I told him, let's wait and see how Vegas is going,
Hmm.
and then I will decide. So after the Vegas fight with the Jan Nortje, uh, I was okay. I had no injuries, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna fight Semi. But I made one big mistake. Um, I wanted to go back to Holland to my kids, and then go to Japan.
Hmm.
One problem for me is I always have problem with the jet lag. So going to Vegas, I had jet lag problems. Coming back to Holland, I had jet lag problems, and then going to Japan, I had jet lag problems again. So I was not the fittest.
Hmm.
The fight was 5 rounds, 3 minutes. Yeah, I saw him fighting before, and I was not really impressed.
Hmm.
But when I stood against him, it was completely different. because especially because he's so tall.
Hmm.
Um, One thing I didn't understand, his right jab was not that hard. His left jab was. And yeah, it's funny that I heard that basically he should be a southpaw, but he never learned to fight southpaw.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty strange, I think,
Hmm.
because uh, I wouldn't if I would have been his trainer, it would be different. But okay, he was very successful anyway, so I guess it was okay for him. But yeah, it was a difficult fight.
Gotcha. All right. December 4th, 2004, K-1 World Grand Prix quarterfinals. You take on Mr. Remy Bonjasky.
Yeah.
How did that fight unfold, and what can you say about the ending?
Um. Yeah. Well, I cannot say I was satisfied with the outcome. We fought 3 rounds, and it was pretty even.
Hmm.
After the third round, then we had to do an extra round. So I thought, okay, now I have to put a little bit more pressure because I don't want to lose this.
Hmm.
And I'm sure I didn't lose that round. But still, they gave it to Remy. So that was a little bit of frustration for me.
Yeah, I scored that fight for you as well.
That last round?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
you won that fight. My opinion.
Yeah, and
No disrespect to anyone.
no, no, no. But I mean, I know why, because they hoped that Musashi would go into the final, and then Musashi will never beat me. Even if I have a wooden leg or something, he will never beat me. Musashi cannot beat me. That's impossible. And they knew that also.
Hmm.
And the year before, he did quite good against Remy. So they thought he would have a better chance against Remy. And basically, he did not, because I think Remy knocked him down in the first or the second round or something.
Hmm.
And then still they gave it a draw. And then extra round gave Remy won again. They gave it a draw again. And then the last round, uh, they did. I mean, I don't know. It was maybe 3 minutes or something before they came with the outcome, and then I'm sure they wanted to let Musashi win, but then Remy won, and I think it would have been good for K1 if Musashi would have won the K1 Grand Prix. Um, but you have to stay honest, and it was not
Hmm.
real. That was not really honest because Remy
Yeah,
won 3 rounds.
gotta love the judges.
Well, gotta love. Yeah, you can say the judges. You can also say you gotta love Japan because they really wanted to have a Japanese champion.
Hmm.
I think that's also one of the reasons why they started K1 Max, because they had Masato, and Masato, he had a good potential to become a champion.
Hmm. Okay. Fast forward October 19th, 2014, you end your career on a win against the guy who you faced many times before, Peter.
Uh-huh.
Um, how did it feel ending your career with a win against him?
Yeah, it was special. It was special to fight him because and he really wanted to win because
Hmm.
it was 3-2 for me. Um, um, yeah, he wanted to beat me as
Hmm.
hard as I wanted to beat him. But we have always been good with each other, apart from in the fight, of course. So it was kind of special to end my career with beating Peter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I'd like to read off a list of some, and these are not all of them, but some of your accomplishments,
Uh-huh.
just to give the viewers some perspective on how amazing your career truly was. So bear with me because this is going to take just a second. And just in case any of the dates are wrong, I went off of Wikipedia on these, so it's them, not me.
I
All right,
understand.
here we go. 1989 Savat World Champion. 1989 World Muay Thai Association World Champion. 1990 World Kickboxing Association World Champion. 1990 World Muay Thai Association World Champion. 1993 K2 Grand Prix Champion. 1997 K1 Grand Prix World Champion. 1999 K1 Grand Prix World Champion. 2000 K1 Grand Prix World Champion. 2002 K1 Grand Prix World Champion. And then in 2014, the World Kickboxing Organization's World Heavyweight Champion. That's
Hmm.
just some of your accomplishments.
Yeah.
Dude, how good does it feel to be you?
Yeah, when you when you are me, then at some point you get used to it.
Sure.
And
Okay.
it's thinking back, I realized, for example, how important it was to win my very first fight,
Hmm.
because it gave me, I will always say, the difference between my first and my second fight is bigger than the difference between my second and my last fight.
Hmm.
Because after my first fight, I knew what it was to fight into the ring.
Hmm.
And of course, especially becoming K1 champion, uh, I became K2 champion already. But K1 becoming K1 champion was very special.
Hmm.
And until today, it's very special to know that you are the person who won that four times.
Hmm.
And yeah, too bad for me that Sammy also won it four times, but it is still very special.
Yeah, absolutely, man. What a career. Absolutely incredible. In my opinion, you are the best to ever do it at heavyweight and have beaten anyone else who could be in that conversation, most of them multiple times. What is it about you and what you have on the inside that has allowed you to become the greatest heavyweight kickboxer ever?
I don't know. Yeah, what I think is important is that I always try to stay cool and collected the moment I'm getting into the ring. Um, I don't. I will never try to play with my emotions or something. I know what I can. I know what I have trained. I also know that the moment I have to bring it into the ring, I'm even better. I'm better in the ring than I am in the gym.
Hmm.
Because in the gym, I will not try to knock my training partners out, and in the ring, I will. Um, and if I look at myself, I'm like, I don't understand why guys don't always uh, cannot beat me, because I know my weaknesses and everything. I will not tell you,
Sure.
but but um, and after so many fights, I think my opponents could know them too. But still, it was apparently my strong points are that strong that my weak points uh, that people don't see my weak points that much. Something like that, I think.
Okay. All right. When fans look back at your career and accomplishments, what is your legacy and how do you hope to be remembered as a fighter?
Uh, well, I think my legacy is of course all the championships I I have had, and especially the K1s, all the K1 Grand Prix I won. Being in the final five times and winning four times. That I was very good, and yeah, I hope that the fans, the people will remember me as a good fighter who always try to do the things the right way, For
Hmm.
example, and I'm not gonna name any names or something, but I know that there was a time, especially in K1, that a lot of fighters used enhancing drugs,
Hmm.
and I have never done that. Sometimes people came to me, they said, "Yeah, and so you also use something." Then I asked them, "Then please tell me what did I use?" Then I want to know too, because then you have to, yeah, then you have to try that too, because I never, ever used anything. I always told myself, after my fight career, I will try to take an ecstasy pill.
There you
That's
go.
what I wanted. Yeah, after my fight career. Actually, I did, and I liked it. Uh, but it was way after my fight career.
Right.
But other enhancing drugs, I never used. I never used, and I'm very proud of myself that I can say that those things I didn't need. I was not always the strongest. I didn't hit the hardest. I didn't kick the hardest. But many times I did the right things on the right moment, and that's why I was also very pleased and proud that I got the nickname Mr. Perfect.
Hmm. You're the reason they had to use those substances, Ernesto.
I don't know about that. I have to say, if I have to say somebody, so for example, Sammy Schild, uh, I don't like his fight style, not at all. But for a fighter that tall, that heavy, he always had a good condition,
Hmm.
and that makes the difference
Yeah.
a lot of times, because many heavyweights are conditional in condition. They are not that good.
Hmm.
They don't have enough stamina, and I think my stamina was always okay. But somebody as heavy, I fought some heavy guys who started to gasp for air already in the second round. But Samuel's always in a good condition. I have to say that.
Okay. All right. I saw something on YouTube while I was doing research. I try to bring up something funny from everybody's past when I
Mhm,
interview them, and I
mhm,
reached out to some training partners and some former opponents, and really couldn't get anything. So I started searching on YouTube, and I came across what I think is a commercial from
uh-huh,
Japan from the early 2000s, and
uh-huh.
it is you and five Japanese guys sitting at a table
Oh,
in what looks like a library, and everyone's trying to be quiet, and all of a sudden your belly starts growing. What was going on? I have no clue what I was watching.
it's it's called in English. It's called the Silent Library,
Okay.
and it's a game. It was. I'm not sure if they still do it on TV, but it was very popular. I
Okay.
was there with five famous comedians in Japan, and so in we were like in a library, and then we were reading a book, and then at some point, and there's somebody who's watching us, but not really, of course. And then at some point, they come with the cards, and when you get the wrong card, then you have to. Uh, there's one how you call that uh, a big board
Hmm.
with something what can happen to you.
Okay.
And now, well, it says, for example, like, yeah, a slap on your butt, or all kind of crazy things,
Hmm.
as you saw. uh, and what was on YouTube was not even the complete, because in those days YouTube was only for 10 minutes,
Hmm.
and the show was the show was much longer. But um it was so funny. It was
It was.
so funny to do, and trying to not to laugh and everything, and those other guys, they're all all actors, all comedians, and everything. They are very good, and
Okay.
yeah, it was one of the nicest, one of the best TV shows I have done, and I have done a lot of TV shows in Japan.
That's great. Yeah,
Yeah.
the version I saw had no audio at all, so it was completely
Ah, okay.
quiet, and the subtitles wouldn't show up, so I couldn't hear anything. So I had no idea what I was watching, but it was funny.
Ah. Yeah, it was really funny. It was really funny. It was one of the funniest shows I have been in.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'd like to ask you some questions that are specific to you. This is to help the viewers relate to you, so that you're not just the professional tough guy. You're just like everyone else. And my first question of these in this section is, what do you like better, pizza or burgers?
Burgers.
There we go. How do you like your burger done?
Actually, it's funny that you say because I just went. I was a little bit hungry and got coming home. I passed the McDonald's. I'm sorry for the
That's
commercial,
fine.
but I just took a hamburger there.
Okay.
And how I liked it done? Yeah, I mean, simple with cheese, a simple one
There we
with
go.
cheese, enough for me. Yeah.
All right. Better movie, Kickboxer or Bloodsport?
Um, Kickboxer.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Favorite animal at the zoo?
The shark.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right. Both in their prime, who wins, Ali or Tyson?
Ooh. I have thought about that, and that's a question, of course, that came up a lot.
It's a great debate.
I would think Tyson because he was much stronger and he was still very fast.
Hmm.
Um, Difficult one. Can I give it a draw or no?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
I would go
Draw
for
it
a draw.
is.
I would go for a draw. Yeah,
All right. Are you more likely to drink a cup of tea or a cup of coffee?
cup of tea.
All right. Who is a better fisherman, you or Peter Ertz?
Oh, when I was young, when I was like a teenager, I liked fishing. So I think me.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You're going to commit a bank robbery, and you have to bring two people with you, Ernesto.
Yes.
What two people are you bringing with you?
Who would I bring? Doing a robbery is already very bad. Um, let's see. Mm, this is a stupid question.
You need a gunman and a getaway
Robbery.
driver.
I would bring. I think I would bring two fighters.
Okay.
And I think I would bring Peter.
Okay.
And can I also bring a deceased fighter?
Sure.
I think I would bring Peter and Mike Bernardo.
There we go. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a good two good
yeah,
choices.
yeah. I think
All
so.
right. All
Yeah.
right. In your bathroom at home, the
Hmm.
roll of toilet paper, does the paper come towards you over the front of the roll or does it feed down the back?
Over the front.
Very good. Very good. I've only had one person ever say around back.
Oh, really?
All right.
And
Favorite.
and what is very important in my bedroom,
Hmm.
I have heated toilet seats.
No.
Yeah.
I would never leave the bathroom.
I mean, it's so funny when I was going to Japan
Hmm.
and when I had a jet lag. Sometimes at night I would wake up, then I would go sit on the toilet, and the toilet was warm,
Hmm.
and I almost fell asleep at the toilet. It was great. So I had to do. I have something like I need that too. So I have them in my house too.
Have you fallen asleep on the toilet yet?
Not yet. because because I'm I never have jet lags here.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
All right. Are you a dog person or a cat person?
I don't have them, but I think I'll be a dog person.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's see. If you had to play a game of Pac-Man versus Anthony Hardonk, who would win?
If I had to play what?
Pac-Man.
Pac-Man. Me, of course,
Why?
because I am the Pac-Man sometimes.
Awesome. Who is a fighter that you would have loved to have fought while you were competing that you didn't get an opportunity to take on?
Um,
Or did you fight everyone?
no, I mean, looking at it now,
Hmm.
for sure, I would have been. First of all, I would have been a MMA fighter
Okay.
because I love MMA, and uh, I think I would have. And then in that case, I would have liked to fight with John Jones.
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah.
Um,
I have a lot of respect for him, and I like him. And sometimes we have a little contact.
okay.
But as for like the challenge, yes, I would have liked to fight John Jones.
Yeah. Awesome, man.
Yeah.
As you know, the reason I do these interviews is to inspire people and hopefully help out people who might be struggling. If you
Uh-huh.
had a message to share with the viewers about not giving up and keeping going, what would that message be?
Okay. Um, when I fought in Japan in the beginning, I was not so lucky the first years, just missing winning the K-1 Grand Prix. Um, and then, so K-1 started in 93, 94, 95, 96. I didn't win. And then at the end, 97 was the first time. So I was very relieved. 98, I had a bad year. I had problem with my health. I still fought, but I lost. Then in 99, my first fight, I had to fight with Francisco Filho, a strong Brazilian,
Hmm.
and he knocked me out cold. And I cannot remember getting out of the ring. I remember that I asked that I was in the dressing room and I was like, "What happened?" And then my trainer said, "You got knocked out." And then I had a little wound on my under my nose
Hmm.
because I fell flat on my face, and I was very devastated. The next day, I went home because my partner was pregnant, and so I was happy I was in time for the birth of my daughter,
Hmm.
and I saw that, and oh yeah, and no no, and after the fight, actually after the fight, I got a lot of questions. What are you going to do now? Then I said, man, I don't know. Maybe I will stop. Because it was very scary to have not to remember at least 3 or 4 minutes
Yeah.
being knocked out and going back to the dressing room. Um, After my daughter was born, I was like, no, I'm not gonna stop. I'm gonna show everybody who I am.
Yeah.
Those days, was the time of the emails. There was no WhatsApp yet, and those kind of, and so I got, uh, for me, very negative email from Japanese press. Are you too old? I was 33. Are you too old? You cannot imagine that now anymore. That,
Mm-mm.
but those days, the
Yeah.
fighters were not that old.
Yeah. That's your
Anyway,
prime now.
exactly.
Hmm.
That's your prime now. Are the other fighters too good? Shouldn't you stop? And especially that word, the that question, shouldn't you stop? That made me so angry,
Hmm.
and that actually, I think that made me coming back stronger. and that year I became K1 champion against all odds.
Hmm.
Um, so for me, that is the best memory I have into fighting. I mean, you can lose and everything. I mean,
Hmm.
but then coming back and becoming champion, they made a nice documentary about it on the Japanese TV,
Okay.
which I still use sometimes, um, especially now because people don't know that anymore that I've been knocked out that bad. And when they see it, they're like, "Wow, Ernesto, did it happen to you?" So yeah, that happened to me. That can happen to me too.
Hmm.
And so coming back from that um, and becoming champion, and yeah, that is such a great memory for me, and a lesson for me, because I had to say one thing. Um, Before the fight against Filio, I organized an event myself. The month, I think 3 weeks before, I went to a party, came back home 5 or 6 o'clock or something, and I mean things I cannot imagine I would do now, and so I didn't take it too serious.
Hmm.
Well, I knew he one of the hardest punchers in the business.
Hmm.
Um, so that thinking about that, um, that is my best memory.
Okay.
Making something good out of something bad.
Absolutely.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Now that you're retired, what do you do to remain part of the sport?
I still teach. I don't have a gym myself, but I train in the gym where I started training 40 years ago.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. I'm there for a long time already, and it's. I mean, when I left, they didn't like it, and but when I came back as a champion, they were completely okay with it.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
I still did one more fight, two more fights in Japan, with my first trainer as a coach in the corner. So that was very good. Um, and uh, and yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. What is the best way for friends and fans of Mr. Perfect to keep up with you these days?
Uh, they can call me. They can drop by. I'm very easy to. They can text me. That's I think WhatsApp is a great invention.
Hmm.
Um, and they should not come with all kind of things that give me headache.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Definitely. All
yeah.
right. Before we get off of here, is there anything else you'd like to share?
No, I'm very happy that you wanted to interview me. I always respect those kind of things. There are so many fighters,
Hmm.
great fighters, who you can ask. So I'm always happy if people ask me to do an interview, and I think this was a very nice interview. So that's it.
Thank you very much, Ernesto. I always do this. I don't
Yeah,
know why. It just happens. Thank you so much for
it's
coming on the
okay.
channel.
Yeah.
I appreciate your time. I am
Hmm.
a lifelong fan and will continue to be. I'm going to upload this to YouTube. As soon as it
Yes.
uploads, I'll send you the first copy to check out. If for any
Right.
reason you don't like it, let me know
Mm.
and I'll
Yeah.
take it down.
Sounds good.
Um, we've spoke long enough at this point. I tell everyone I consider you a friend. I hope you consider me one as well, man. Thank you
For
again.
sure. Yes.
All right, Ernesto. Have a great rest of your day, man.
Thank you. Same to you.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye.